This is Allison Hunt, and this is my novel, Starset 158, Colony 5, Chapter 20, The Space Station. These are the rules. You have to wear this tracker bracelet, and do not remove it. Stay in the middle of our formation, and don't try to move out. If you move out, you may be killed. Blend in, and don't move, and don't talk. Lily, Katama doesn't want you to leave, because he wants to tell you, and has no idea how, Koa told her. Don't say things like that. It's true. Lily reached her hand out. Lily had the FRID bracelet put on her and agreed to stay quiet and stay in line. Katama let her out even though it was the last thing he wanted. He should have talked to her first. Tell us your name and the last things you remember. This is a subchapter. I'm Cameron Zale from Colony 5, AWAB, After War, After Black Hole. What year is it, Cameron? 4070. What happened to your colony? They were murdered. He stopped and looked very disturbed and sad. To him it was just yesterday, and it kind of was. The Sotnon murdered my entire family, except for my father, my mother, and me. They destroyed our seed banks, everything. My brothers and sisters were butchered. All you have to do is fry someone, and there was blood everywhere, pieces of them. He got very quiet. All of them, he whispered. Why do you think they did that? To destroy us. But what do you think their reasons were? My mother, the Sotnon female, they were time travelers. Why wouldn't they just take your mother and let you live? Rival houses. How did your colony survive so long? My father took a lot of samples. He wanted to just have all of his children on Colony 5, but even with electronic stimulus, it doesn't cure the urge of human nature, nor sidestep the deformities of inbreeding. Understood. Continue. So my father took samples from many males and females so we could reproduce without birth defects. They wanted my mom. You don't understand. She's had nothing but people chasing her around for years. They just wouldn't ever let her have a choice. And she finally got one. She had a choice. She had just gotten her freedom back. And she got the man she loved. She was free, and my father did that. All of it. Those assholes came back for her, one in particular. Another time traveler showed up and tried to help us. Which one? That fucking jackass Haffy, the one who had the time ball and kept jacking off with it. He made a terrible and irresponsible mess. Does he have a name? Yeah, Alien Kindness. Did he tell that to you? Hell no, with a name like that, who's going to tell someone else about it? He went by AK. I don't care much for Cameron myself, but nobody calls me that anyway. Anyway, me and my father stunned his ass and searched him. He had identification? No. Actually, he had other people's identification, but none of his own. We hypnotized him in his sleep and interrogated him. He can't lie that way. Interesting. He warned us about some Sotso woman that had it out for my mom, Lillian Shea. He tried to help us. Do you think it was the Sotnon male or maybe the Sotso woman who murdered your family? The Sotnon, Reese Matheson's colony. Colony 7. Even though the Sotso chick wanted her dead, she wouldn't take all of us out, but the man would. What makes you think that? If I was supposed to mate with the last other Sotnon alive, and she took off and vanished, I'd probably try to track her down too, and if I succeeded, and she, I don't know, had other children, I'd probably wipe them all out as well. There wouldn't be anything left linked to my father, and that is a man's brain, not a woman's. That guy had it out for all of us, and the woman only had it out for my mother. Do you think he was from the same time period as you? Had to be close. Why do you think that? You ask too many questions, and I don't like to talk. For some reason, they didn't go to the past and change shit. They came straight for us in the present time. Do you think maybe the technology that your colony had was so advanced that others may have wanted it? Or maybe your colony did something in the future that they wished to stop? Our colony was taught and raised to stay away from everyone else. So I doubt we attacked anyone with what we had or what we knew. We kept it all safe. So you think the Satnan male and his children came for you and your family? Affirmative. You don't think it was the Satso woman? Maybe, but I doubt that. Him and his sons. I don't think a woman ever fought with them. So him and his children killed your colony. Did you ever know who the mother of these children were? You're giving me a headache. Some of them that I have seen were my mother's children, but others were not. Do you think they could have been clones of him? You can't clone a Satnan. Correct. So where did alien kindness go, and where is my father? We found you barely alive after a near-fatal wound. We found 5 bodies. 3 were Satso, 2 full, and 1 halfy. I've never met a Satso halfy, even after the black hole, but it wouldn't be impossible. What was the other race? We know you are upset and do not wish to upset you further. Just tell me the damn truth, please. The halfy was a Menaki and a Satnan. Yeah, I've heard of him. Your father passed. Your mother passed. Reese Matheson is no longer alive, but he has many descendants. We are very sorry. We can relax you and put you back to sleep for a while. They're both dead? Are you serious? What year is it? They looked at each other before they answered. 4160. No shit. We waited a very long time to destroy or wait for this threat against you to die out or be eliminated. It is gone now. It took 160 years for them to stop chasing us? Yes, they were searching for you and all generations of you because they know you both escaped. They have been wanting to destroy your DNA. We kept you asleep and hidden the entire time. Did you at least take his samples? Yes. You didn't clone him, did you? I'll destroy you myself if I'm just about to meet all my father's clones and shit. No, we just kept his seed. You have his DNA. You can't clone me. I'm half Satnan. We know that. You kept his seed to impregnate any woman? Yes. That's a real gift to me after losing all of them. You want to find the halfy, don't you? Koa asked Lily. Yes, because I lost that part of me that was him. Don't you dare run off to find him. What if he wants back what was stolen and still loves me? I'm afraid you're going to die. I'm afraid they have him so booby-trapped that they are expecting you to find him, and that's how they will kill you once and for all on Shay. Katama will be miserable if anything happens to you. Be quiet. They walked into the lobby of the space station. The black hole was approaching and was soon to start destroying their planets one at a time, but this is not what they were broadcasting. Everyone knew it was happening soon, but they played happy movies from all over their worlds. All of the Menaki blended in together and walked in formation. Jeremy and Alejandro watched from inside their ship. Jeremy hacked into the space station's controls and changed the video screens. Billie Holiday appeared on a screen and started to sing. Now, mind you, no one except for Jeremy, AK, Alejandro, Zale, Reese, the Gonza, and Lily had ever heard of Billie Holiday. Everyone stopped, looked up, and were taken by the heartstrings and yanked up 1,000,000 miles into space from the sound of her voice. Hey, Lily smiled and pointed at the screens. Koa nudged her. Don't do that, he warned. I got her. She's right in the middle. Jeremy cheered, and Alejandra nodded. We have to disguise ourselves. This ship is treason and the girls are big-time outlaws. Right. But that's also why we have the best one. Right. How do we get Lily away from the Monarchy? They are good guys and we don't mean them or Lily any harm at all. She'll come, Alejandra. She'll come. She still trusts me and still loves me. There won't be any resistance. She's a Satnan and she can fight them all off. What about Zale? Zale doesn't seem to care much about Lily, but I do. I do. Let's rock, Alejandra agreed. All in the lobby were stunned listening to Billie Holiday. Lily, we have to move swift. I have to pick up some things so that we can leave and bring you back into protection. So you're the number one of the Monarchy? Well, fucking duh, Anshay. You wouldn't be standing next to me if I didn't matter. And I wouldn't be standing next to you if you didn't matter. I'm surprised he let you come here at all. The Antonon showed up and entered the lobby. Some of the other races booed and shouted at them. It was unnecessary because they had already been shamed. The Gonza had already punished them and they lost half of their race and almost their planet. As Lily and the Monarchy walked towards the check-in counter, they passed an espresso coffee vending machine. Lily stopped walking and stared at it. We don't have time for that. Katama told me not to let you eat or drink anything out here. It's too dangerous. When they got to the desk and checked in, they were given tickets for the concessions and for the MRE supplies for their colony. They went to pick up their supplies, and there were delis and concession stands filled with tasty treats and sweets from all cultures. Lily looked up at him with puppy dog eyes and a pout on her lips. No. There was a main lobby with a stage, but there was nothing set up or going on at the moment. There were different sections for different races. It resembled an airport, but it was much nicer. Each section had happy films playing, like they used to play in America during the Great Depression. Most of them stayed together, but some races did mingle and talk to one another in the lobby. No matter what happened in the past, now everyone had the same future. Their planet would be destroyed and they would be forced to live in space. On the furthest side of the lobby, there was a different section with multi-screens. It showed the black hole, and on the other screens were each planet and the distance between it and the black hole. It showed the minutes, hours, days, and months until impact. In this room, apart from the laughing, happy movies, and joyous music, was the inevitable truth. Lily looked up at the screen and frowned. She squeezed Koa's arm. The Monarchy picked up their supplies and quickly scanned it for weapons and explosives. Everything was normal. The back row carried the supplies. Do you still see her? Alejandra asked. Yes, but the Satso are here, and that woman's on board. Can you beam her up to us? No, I keep trying and it's not working. I can't lock on. We better get out of here before that woman finds her. If that chick has a mask on, we're screwed. The damn computer can't see through it. AK had identified her face, and Jeremy programmed his computer to recognize it. She made a deal with the Satso and prepaid them for it. If she mates with Reese Matheson, she will be powerful as well as be protected by the Gonza. That's a damn good motive, but Lily isn't with them. No, but that's a better circumstance for her plan because he can't protect her. We have to save her. I didn't do all of this to sit here while Lily gets killed. Me neither. The Satso had arrived and their group unloaded. Jeremy and Alejandra changed to match the Satso's outfits. They put on holographic masks. Shit, we can't beam down there either. We have to walk out. When they went through the tunnel that led to the space station, there was a sign and a female computer voice warning. No weapons of any kind allowed on board. All weapons will be confiscated. They went through a door, and when they did, both of their weapons were instantly vaporized. Jeremy yelled without saying a word, and Alejandro laughed. Seeing Jeremy, who looked like a different person, yelling silently was hilarious. "Did you take the self-defense classes like I told you to?" Alejandro asked, and Jeremy nodded. "It's all or nothing now. The girls will come and help us if we get into trouble." The girls were watching them closely. "All in," said Jeremy. They joined the back of the Satso group, and luckily the Satso couldn't read minds. They could only alter them. So there were so many distractions going on that the Satso didn't notice them. At least not yet. Jeremy looked at his watch, which was connected to the surveillance inside of the space station, as well as the computers on their ship. The computer was trying to match the facial recognition. No match found. "Shit," Jeremy muttered. "Shit," the girl captain said out loud. They still had a green box on Lily, but Jeremy had manually set it because the computer couldn't see through the mask. The Menaki stopped to let the Satso walk by them. Most of the Satso looked around at the movies and things in the lobby. The others were looking for Lily. They used their powers on the Menaki. They were all blown down except for Lily, who turned around. "Stand," Lily told them, and they stood back up. Luckily, they were by a cafeteria, and the Menaki started to pull every utensil they could to arm themselves with. Most of them were spoons and pretty useless, but they did find some things that had a sharp end. They hovered them above them in a cloud and plucked out the sharp ones to hold in their hands. Koa tried to stand in front of Lily, but she wouldn't let him. "Stand still," a Satso told the Menaki. "Run to your ship." The other Satso fought the first one. "Don't do this. We've been involved in 3 conflicts involving Anshe and the Gonza, and the Gonza are going to kill us all this time." But since they were already paid off, they cared only about themselves and not the welfare of their race. This is when they made their attack on the Menaki. They used their fists along with their powers as the Menaki tried to flee. The Satso that weren't involved in the plot fought the others. Jeremy nodded at Alejandro, who jumped into action. They headed to protect Lily. She was pissed, so she raised her frequency, which stalled most of them, but the ones that were after her all had earplugs. Jeremy and Alejandro did as well. Jeremy smiled and kept fighting. He raised his frequency too, but tried not to hurt Alejandro or max out his earplugs. "Suit up," the captain of the girls' ship ordered. They suited up to match the Satso, but they as well hid their faces behind masks. The frequency began to max out the earplugs of the Satso, and it began to weaken them. "You're all blind," a Satso shouted, which automatically blinded the Menaki. They were helpless. To everyone's surprise, the Antonon jumped in to help them. "You can see," Lily told them, but because the voice hurt their minds, her powers could only make their vision blurry. "Follow me," Lily said, and she began to sing. "What the hell?" Jeremy asked about the Antonon. "I don't know," Alejandro answered. The Antonon had been shamed, killed, and forced back to their planet for the atrocities they had committed. All of their evil had been revealed to the Gonza. The rumor was spread through the Antonon race was that the Gonza were so apathetic towards the Antonon because of the billions that were slaughtered in World War III that they not only wanted to exterminate the entire Antonon race, they wanted to destroy their planet. The rumor also was that Lily Anshe was the only reason why their planet was spared, as well as half of their race. Their weapons were taken away and they were forced to stay on their planet or be hunted by the Gonza and all of the other races. That was only a rumor that a Hafi had allegedly told in Antonon. The other story that went around was not a rumor at all. It was considered an absolute fact by all of the Antonon. It was about Alejandro, the Antonon boss of the Halfies, that cared for Anshay. He had beat up a few of his superiors, started a fire in a lab, and stole a record book which revealed their role in World War III. It also revealed all of the ways they tortured humans. They had begun making clones many years before the war. The Gonza found out all of their wrongdoings. Most of the Antonon hated this rebel and wanted to kill him for betraying their race. They also blamed him for the punishment the Gonza inflicted, as well as the near destruction of their planet. It is odd, but fairly common, to pass the blame in order to try to escape responsibility for a crime. Half of the Antonon now left weren't involved in their darkest crimes, just as Alejandro hadn't known anything about it, even though most of the guilty hated him and called him the enemy. They hated him for the crimes they committed, which he had nothing to do with. Most of them blamed him when all he did was reveal the truth. Even with the misdirected blame, many Antonon admired his bravery. The black hole had changed things. The Antonon began to learn hand-on-hand combat because they weren't allowed weapons, as well as the story about Alejandro easily beating up his superiors. They were shamed so badly for their war crimes that whether they hated Alejandro or not, it was in fact their wrongdoing and also their fault. At least they could do was try to help the Monarchy from being killed. But they, as well, were blinded by the Sotso. The clone showed up and Jeremy yelled, "Astine, 391, we need your help." Every Astine paid attention, but none were 391. The Sotso picked up the Monarchy's discarded knives and started killing the helpless Monarchy and the Antonon that were trying to save them. Lily kept singing and ushered the blind Monarchy towards the ship. When they got to the ship was parked in, they could see again. A few entered the ship. "Where's Anshay?" Katama asked. "She's using her powers to save us." "She's not going to make it back. You'll get killed out there. Don't go," Koa warned. By the looks on the faces of those who barely made it back into the ship, he wasn't intending to fight a bunch of Sotso. His heart hurt for Lily. The clones, who also had their hidden weapons vaporized, were extremely well trained at hand-on-hand combat, but they were completely helpless to the Sotso. Many Antonon, clones, and Monarchy were killed by the knives and the powers the Sotso had. After Jeremy had yelled, the Sotso turned their powers on him and tried to get him to kill Lily. It went straight to his mind, and there was nothing he could do about it. The girls tried to help the Monarchy first, but they saw Jeremy leading them to Lily. The female captain yelled at him, "Protect the Monarchy!" Jeremy snapped out of his trance. He picked up a knife that one of the blinded Monarchy had dropped, and he stabbed the Sotso next to him. "Raise your frequency!" A few Oxlar did. It stalled some of the Sotso. Lily was ushering every blinded Monarchy into the tunnel that led to their ship. A maintenance man in coveralls, who wore a simple cap, began to cut through the crowd. A Monarchy, who was almost last in line to the tunnel, pulled out a syringe that hadn't been evaporated because it was never put into the program. She reached her arms out like she couldn't see. She let the knife slide down her arm. On the inside of her sleeve. She reached Lily and stabbed her while she injected the poisonous liquid. The maintenance man pulled a Zale rifle and shot at the woman. She fell down and her mask disarmed, but there was nothing left of her face. Zale knelt down to Lily and checked her pulse. She was bleeding out. "Where have you been?" she asked Cole. "Building a space station." "That's a really good excuse." Lily died before he could apologize for anything he had done. There was a bright flash and 2 men upon motorcycles appeared. AK ran to Lily. The Draken shook his head and raised Lily's Superman watch. 10 seconds. "That bitch!" AK screamed. Dead bitch, Cole muttered. Some were still fighting, but an alarm went off. 48 hours until impact, the computer said, and the Antonon froze. In the background, the happy music in movies continued. Their weapons were vaporized. They're sitting ducks out there. John, don't go out there, please. I have to. I have to help my friends. You can't. You don't have any powers. Look at them. It's a full-out brawl. I do have earplugs and a helmet. You're our leader now. We can't afford to lose you. Bullshit. They'll just clone me another 391 times, John said, and Matthew laughed. But it wouldn't be you. Call the Gonza. Do it now. Fine. 391 called the Gonza. They answered. We need the Sotnon to go out there and save the Menaki from the Sotso. We can't risk his life. He's more important than we are. Then get your guys down here and help save them. Where the hell are the Oxlar? The Oxlar are the only ones who can fight the Sotso. The Oxlar are 2 hours away. We are 5 hours away. Well, tell them to get their asses here. Stat. Affirmative. I'm going out there. Beam me to them, Reese demanded. The Gonza ordered the Oxlar, and the Oxlar went into warp speed. The Gonza got a transmission. I failed, Zale told the Gonza, and hung up. Reese could read their mind and was furious. This is his fucking fault. He fucking destroyed her, which caused her to leave here. She wouldn't be fucking dead if she had stayed here. She loved her friends too. She liked you too, but she was too hurt to open her feelings for you. It's his fault. So now Reese is pissed. He's gonna kill Zale.